Good evening to fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. With immense pleasure, I welcome you all to our 817th meeting of Chennai Toastmasters Club. The mission of every Toastmaster Club is to provide a supportive and a positive learning experience. In such a way, the members are empowered to improve their communication skills and leadership qualities, hence resulting in greater personality growth and self-confidence. Members of the Toastmasters are guided by a set of essential core values: integrity, respect, service, and excellence. Before moving on to the meeting, I would like to brief upon certain rules to be followed. Kindly keep your mobile phones on silent mode. Do not talk about taboo topics such as politics, religion, and sex. Kindly sit in a silent atmosphere so that you can hear the speakers clearly. Kindly be on mute until it's your turn to speak. If you have any message to be conveyed or shared during the meeting, kindly use the chat box below. We strongly advise to have your videos turned on for a convivial meeting experience. Please rename yourself with a prefix saying guest or Toastmaster and the role played in the meeting. I hope everyone is all set and ready to get into the meeting. Now it's time to introduce our presiding officer. Our presiding officer for the day is Madam Toastmaster Abhirami. She is a CA by profession and a very diligent Toastmaster. As a Toastmaster, she had been an ex-com member as a CAA, VP membership, and she is the ex-VP Education at CTM. And right now, she is the president of our club. So let's welcome our presiding officer, Toastmaster Abhirami. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vishnu, for the very warm introduction. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. It is going to be International Women's Day in a couple of days, which is 8th March. When I think about the International Women's Day, one thing that comes to my mind is the journey of women in the last 3 generations. My grandmother was a housewife, and I'm sure each of your grandmothers would have been. And my mother, she went to college, but still she was housewife for most part of her life. But in my case, or more or less most of the generations now, women are working and are financially independent. This definitely makes them feel or makes us feel more empowered. I believe this is all because of the shift in mindset in the men around us. The men who were fathers, the husband, the mentors, brothers, who all felt that everyone requires an equal opportunity in life. So kudos to all the men out here. Wishing you all a happy Women's Day, not because it should be just celebrated by women, because it always is definitely there that we are all working for each other, not just in the personal, professional, and all the spheres. So let's celebrate this moment. And on this note, let me formally declare meeting number 817 open. Let me formally recognize the presence of our district parliamentarian, distinguished Toastmaster Sivaraj. Welcome, sir. He is going to be the educational speaker for today. We are all looking forward for your session. Also, I would like to recognize the presence of C4 Area Director, our distinguished Toastmaster Venu Neelakandan for this meeting. Yeah. Now, we also have a few guests, I think. No, Krishna is our new member. So guests probably are yet to join. We have someone called Sakun. Welcome guests to this meeting. We would love to see you and also hear from you towards the end of the meeting. Hope you'll have a good time with us today. Now it's time to get into the meeting, and we are going to start by hearing the Secretary's report from our Secretary, Toastmaster Vignesh. Over to you, Toastmaster Vignesh. The stage is yours.
Thanks, Toastmaster Abhirami. Last week we had a contest. The week before last week we had 816th meet where Toastmaster Vishnu was the Toastmaster of the day. Theme was confidence has no competition. Word of the day was fortitude, meaning mental or emotional strength in the face of difficulty. Example was throughout his illness, he showed great fortitude. We had an educational session about how to use body language by Toastmaster Pankaja. She shared a 9C rule about body language. Then we had two prepared speakers. Toastmaster Shruti delivered her icebreaker speech and Toastmaster Mukil delivered her speech about Toastmaster mentoring. Table topic master was Toastmaster Abhilash. He came up with the intriguing table topics. Everyone participated in table topics. General evaluator was Toastmaster Rekha. Her commendations were meeting started on time and every section was on time. Every role player did their homework and delivered appropriately. Her recommendations were Toastmaster of the day could have some points about theme whenever transitioning or switching in between the speakers. And she recommended to call the members as Toastmaster instead of TM. Example, Toastmaster Abhilash instead of calling TM Abhilash. And she recommended the evaluators to stick with the speaker's objective. Then presiding officer Toastmaster Lakshmi adjourns the meeting. Back to you, Toastmaster Abhirami.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vignesh. That was an elaborate report. Now it's time to get into the meeting. And for this, we have the man of action today, our Toastmaster of the day. He is a veteran Toastmaster, and he is one person who I looked up to most of the times. When I even joined the club, I saw his performance and I was so impressed that I joined CTM. To say a few words about him, he is a public speaker, a corporate trainer, and a spiritual aspirant. I request Toastmaster Srikanth Krishnan onto the stage to take the meeting forward, to master all our voice. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster Srikanth.
Thank you, President. You are such a great source of inspiration to begin a meeting such as this. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming in this afternoon. Something that I wanted to share with you is quite interesting when I think about it over and over again. Do you know that your voice is the most powerful communication tool that you have or you possess? In spite of that, most of us are stuck behind our voices. There is no much difference between singing and speaking, because when you start singing, it is the same voice and the vocal cord that you use, and it is the same thing that you use whenever you speak. Literally, there is no difference. And yet, we find it very difficult to master our voice and make an impactful speech that we always dreamt of giving in front of an audience. And the other interesting thing is this voice that you have, the faculty that you have been blessed with, is not for you for that matter. Would you agree with me if I tell you, you don't need your voice to talk to yourself? Do you really? If I'm going to think about a joke, it goes through in my mind, there is a chatter in my mind, and I smile. But the voice that you have is a gift that has been given to you, which you need to improvise and hone the skill of speaking, which you have to deliver to the person that is going to listen to you. So it is a gift that you have to present when you are going to speak. And today I'm going to share with you a couple of tips, because public speaking or speaking in front of an audience, or if it is speaking in front of a group of people or just one or two, it really matters how well you speak. And it is also important to know that speaking is also an art with a few principles, but a lot of technique. And today I'm going to help you in finding the ways that you can master your voice. And now that we are going to meeting, today's meeting is very interesting. We have a very much awaited education session. We also have prepared speech where we have one speaker who would be coming and delivering a speech. And the second is going to be the table topic session, where you can find your true voice, how good you are at speaking. When a topic is given to you at random, you don't get to know what the topic before the table topic master tells you what it is, and the general evaluation. So this sessions, all these put together is what is going to happen in today's meeting. And The important aspect of any meeting is to assess how good the meeting went along, what were the good qualities, what were the best things that had happened, and if there is any room for improvement, we would get suggestions about what needs to be improved. And that is being done by a general evaluator. And this person who's going to be the general evaluator this afternoon is a champion speaker, a person who has cracked the CA exam, who knows what are the requirements to run a club such as CTM at a very young age, taken up different roles and mastered the skill of leadership. And please join me in welcoming Toastmaster Abhilash as our general evaluator. Toastmaster Abhilash.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shrikant Kutikishan, for those very warm words of introduction. I can assure you my cheeks are almost red right now. Thank you. They say 1 + 1 = 2, but I'm going to beg to differ there. 1 + 1 = 11 if the power of synergy is properly utilized. Public speaking, is an art that has so many elements in it. Effective body language, your voice modulation, the timing of your speech, the language that you use, and finally the speech itself, right? So these are all various parts, ones, but together, if you add them, 1 + 1, they don't make 2, they make 11. So to evaluate all these various aspects here in Toastmasters, we have an entire team that is dedicated to evaluating each and every one of these aspects. Today, as your general evaluator, I am going to lead this team. I shall be evaluating the entire meeting, but say no words. It's not a one-man's job. I have two sets of teams with me today. The first one is going to be the evaluations team, the speech evaluators, whom I will be introducing to you all towards the rare end of today's meeting. The other team is the tag team, the timer, counter, and the grammarian. Let me introduce them to you. First up, we have our timer, Toastmaster Rahul. To tell you something about Toastmaster Rahul, he works as a site reliability engineer at Farlenco. His hobbies include playing football and reading books. Toastmaster Rahul, could you please tell us your objectives for the day?
Thank you for the kind introduction, Toastmaster Abhilash. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As a timer, I'll be timing the table topic speakers, formal speeches, and evaluations. I will also alert each speaker of the time they have left using the green, yellow, and red cards, which denote the specific times remaining. For example, if the allotted time of the speech is 5 to 7 minutes, then at a minimum time of 5 minutes, I will raise the green card. At the immediate time of 6 minutes, I will raise the yellow card. And at the maximum time of 7 minutes, I will raise the red card. An additional grace time of 30 seconds will be given, after which I will raise the time up card and the speaker will be considered disqualified. Also, I will make a note of the time taken by each speaker and submit my report towards the end of the meeting when called upon by the general evaluator. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster Abhilash.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rahul, for those effective words of your role. Now, next up, we have our counter for the day, Toastmaster Lakshmi Narayana. To introduce Toastmaster Lakshmi Narayana, he is currently the backbone of our club, our Vice President Education. He's also served as a past Vice President Public Relation and Vice President Membership in our club. Professionally, he is an engineering graduate and a software engineer working at Applied Materials India. Toastmaster Lakshmi Narayana, could you please tell us your objectives?
Thank you, Toastmaster Abhilash, for your kind words. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. The purpose of the counter is to note words and sounds that are used as a correct or pause filler by anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I will listen for overused words, including and, well, but, so, and you know. I will also listen for filler sounds, including and I will also note down when a speaker repeats a word or a phrase. At the end of the meeting, I will report to the general evaluator when called upon. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lakshmi Narayana, for that introduction. Next up, we have our grammarian for the day. He might be a fairly new Toastmaster, but he brings a rich value of professional experience. Let us welcome Toastmaster Bharat, who is an IT professional with 10 plus years of experience and is currently working as a technical architect at DISYS. Toastmaster Bharat, could you please tell us what your objectives of the day are?
Thanks, Toastmaster Abhilash, for your warm introduction. Good evening to fellow Toastmasters and guests. As a grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all the speakers and listening carefully to their language usage. I will take note of any misuses of the English language as well as an outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. As a grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. For today's meeting, the word of the day is adroit, which means very skillful and quick in the way you think or move. An example of using this word is an adroit leader. It was an adroit way to solve the problem. And she was adroit at removing my armor, which she did well and beautifully. Each and every speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. And at the end of the meeting, I will give the word of the day report and grammatical usage report when called upon by general evaluator. Thank you to fellow Toastmasters and guests. Over to you, Toastmaster Abhilash.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bharat. That was indeed lucidly explained. Ladies and gentlemen, Toastmasters and guests, I and my team will be back towards the end of the meeting with all our reports. Stay on your toes. You're constantly being watched. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. Thank you very much, General Evaluator. Now begins the real interesting and thrilling part of today's meeting, education session on parliamentary procedures. Any organization that works democratically and functions within the bylaws, the procedure, and the rules laid down by the organization is always at the forefront of uplifting and serving the society, and Toastmasters International, a non-profit organization, is one of such brilliant run and managed democratically by a set of directors and presidents. And in today's education session, who better to teach us or give us an inside view of what parliament procedure is all about is also a parliamentarian from District 120. He's an entrepreneur, a social activist, and a person who's well known across the district of 120. It's a great privilege that I and all of you, I'm sure, would agree with me to hear about this democratical principle that every Toastmasters club is following. And that is the reason that an organization such as CMI has survived 90 plus years. Please join me in welcoming distinguished Toastmaster Shivaraj.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day, TTM Srikanth, for your gracious introduction. Fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, good afternoon. I'm delighted to attend a meeting where the club experience is around 18 years. I was just, I just went through your to the dashboard, and I was surprised to see that your club was started in where I think 18 years before, in I think 2000 April 2004. It seems. Yes, very good. And you have already met your 10 goals, and you have added 18 new members in this particular year. All those things, I'm really, so we have to expect when you attend a senior club like Chennai Toastmasters. When I was a president, when I was in Bahrain, I too was in a club, which is a senior most club in Bahrain. I found it very difficult when I was a president. Why? Because if you are a president of a senior most club, most of the club members, they know very well about the parliamentary procedures. When I took the position as a president, I was not knowing much about the parliamentary procedures, and I didn't attend any parliamentary procedures presentation at that time. It was a boring session. always say that the most boring presentation in Toastmasters is parliamentary procedure. Then I learned in between, my senior Toastmaster used to say, President, you missed to read the, ask for the minutes of meeting. You didn't approve the minutes of meeting. You didn't ask for that. And you missed to welcome the guests. So many things. And that too, when we are doing the business session, it is like we make small errors. So I approached my senior Toastmasters and they said it is because you lag in parliamentary procedure. So better you read parliamentary procedure. That's how I got interested in knowing about the parliamentary procedure. Now it has helped me a lot. When I moved to District 120, I saw most of the clubs are not following the parliamentary procedure. Then it is the right thing. No? When what we learn from Toastmasters, we have to give back to the Toastmasters. That is what Toastmasters is all about. So let us move up. Let me first share my screen. I was talking to your VP Education. I asked him what is the level of knowledge about the parliamentary procedures, or whether I have to go beginner level, intermediate, or advanced. So he told me better we go for intermediate level because we have 50% or more members who are very new to the club. So it is better. So I will go for intermediate level. Parliamentary procedure. Why we have to follow parliamentary procedure? As already our Toastmaster of the day has mentioned, to follow the democratic procedures. Okay, so what is intended for? To maintain the decorum. It's a rules of order which we have to follow so that we will take a quick decision. And we follow to maintain the decorum of the meeting and to ascertain the will of the majority. So only the majority decides. But at the same time, we preserve the rights of minority. The minority has a say. They can raise their concern. And to facilitate the orderly transaction of business. Since you are a senior most club, I don't want to explain more about the constitution and why we have to, about the business and all. Let us know some basic definition. This is mandatory when you are going and attending an parliamentary session. Quorum. Quorum is a minimum number of members required to transact a business. Your club, and it is very much you have to understand, quorum is for the active members. Your club might have more than 50 members. But out of 50, only 30 may be active. So it will be very difficult to achieve the quorum. Quorum is 50%. So if you want 50% of the total members, 50, it is very difficult. So every meeting you need 25 if you want to transact a business. But if it is active members, then it is very easy. Out of 25, you need only 30 to achieve the quorum. And the constitution never mentioned about who is active or inactive. The club has to decide. So during your business meeting, you have to decide who will be your active or inactive. Then comes your constitution. Constitution is an organization fundamental rules. So it is common for all the clubs, all the Toastmasters clubs. Bylaws which is pertain to the individual. So you can have your own fee structure. You can have your own club timings. So all those things comes under bylaws. Basic, you have standing rules which is pertain to your own club. And main motion. Motion is something, a proposal. If you want to suggest something, you have to bring it as a proposal that has an action. So action to be taken. Some action if you want to be taken by the club officers. So you have to bring it as a motion. Presiding officer. Of course, for our club, it will be always the president. In absence of president, then it will be the VP education. The standard of the order of business. So I will go through very fast because you people are conducting regularly the business session. So I don't want to take more time. The first thing, many business sessions, you have to ask for call to order. What is call to order means? When you say I am following, the president says, he raps the gavel and says I call to order. That means you are going to follow the agenda. What is mentioned in the agenda that you are going to follow. If there is any modification or something you want to change, at the beginning itself, somebody has to tell that there is a change in the agenda. So that amended agenda has to be added. Then after that, we have to follow that agenda. Secretary reads the minutes of meeting and the member has to approve the minutes of meeting. I have seen at the beginning, secretary has read previous minutes of meeting, but it won't go into record unless it is approved by the members. So the member has to approve it. So by normal thing, somebody can propose and somebody can say that the previous minutes of meeting is, so you second that motion. Or else the president itself, because you will keep on doing the same thing, so the himself or herself, she can say that the minutes of meeting is approved as read. If there is no addition or deletion. Maybe secretary has missed something, so you can add or delete before it is getting approved. Then it goes into the record. Club officers report. This is the time the club officers has to read the report. All the 7 club officers. Then your standing committee report. So if any standing committee is present, if you have membership, education committee, or your PR committee or a social or reception committee, they can present their report. Then comes the special committee report. This is appointed by the president for sometimes nomination committee, election committee, or an investigating committee, somebody. So if you have something, then you can. So it is not all you will follow. So it is not that all time you will have club officer report, all time standing committee report later. If it is present, you have to. Otherwise, not. Special order. Sometimes you have new member induction. Your new member induction has to be done during the business meeting where the quorum was present, because the member has to vote for a new member. If you have any doubt, please go through the constitution. The member has to be voted to be a new member. Okay. Nomination. Next is if any nomination is taking place, that nomination something that can be done during that time. Election during business meeting only you have to do. It's all once in a while. Installation of club officer once in 6 months. So once the special order is over, then it comes the old business. Old business is what? You are any motion, it was pending from previous business meeting. If that was pending, then you have to reopen it here for debate. Then you go for. If no old business is pending, then only you have to open the floor for new business. Okay. The club members can raise, as I mentioned, to propose for a new motion. Then you have to agenda. This is the 10 steps which we follow during that. So this is all, since you're a senior most club, I don't want to repeat it again. This is the order we have to follow. There is a logic for everything, why we follow this order. Please follow this. Next is motion. What is a motion? How to bring a motion? Since if there is more than 50% of the members are new members, they won't have any idea what is motion, how to bring a motion. So let us discuss about it. There are 6 steps involved in bringing a new motion. The first thing is, when the president is speaking, we should not interrupt this. Okay, president. During a business meeting, only the president will be talking. If you have anything to talk, then you have to raise your hand. President recognizes you, then allows you to speak. That time, you have to propose for a motion. When you are proposing a motion, then what you have to say? In British system or in Indian system, we use I propose. If it is American type, they use I move that. So whenever you say, you have to use this word, this phrase, okay? I move that, I propose that the club fees is increased to 4,000. It is very clear. You want some action to be taken by your club officer. So you are proposing an action. Now, this is the second step. Now you propose. Now the third one, somebody has to second the motion. So who is going to second? So second is somebody. If I am supporting that what it is, it has to be discussed. Then I second the motion. Now 2 parts. For the second, if you want to second the motion, you need not wait until the president recognizes it. Once it is proposed, then you can second the motion directly. Now the presiding officer, he doesn't have any choice. Now we can say this motion is good or bad, like that. He has to restate and the motion before the. So he has placed the motion before the group. Now the motion has to be debated. Who will get the first chance? Obviously, the maker of the motion. Who is the maker of the motion? The proposer. So the proposer is allowed to speak first. So he will tell his opinion. Why he want to bring that motion? He will explain. For example, you can have 2 minutes. Depends upon your club time. Normally, our club meetings are within 2 hours, so you can allow 1 or 2 minutes only maximum. 2 minutes is more than enough. 2 minutes for one speaker. So then after that, there is anybody who is opposing the motion, they will get chance. So now the debate continues like that. Proposing team, opposing, proposing, opposing. Finally, it goes for voting. Nobody will get a second chance until if nobody is waiting is in the list, then it is okay. If somebody is waiting to speak, then nobody will get a second chance. So now the motion is, once the debate is complete, the presiding officer tells the motion is put to vote. After the voting, the result is announced. The result is if it is more than 50% of the casted vote. If you receive, then the motion is adopted. Or if it is less than that, the motion is defeated. If the motion is defeated, no action is required because the motion is actually defeated. If it is motion is adopted, now it is the responsibility of the club officers to implement it. So this is how a club functions. Whatever we are going to do, any club members or any club officers, president want to do, he has to get it ratified from the members. How he does, he goes to the member and get it. So there are, if now motions, I told about the main motion. Main motions, it doesn't talk too much about anything. There are some subsidiary motions, there are some few motions, subsidiary motion, privileged motions, incidental motion, and there are some special motions which help the main motion, especially the subsidiary motion. The subsidiary motion, it helps the substance of the in the main motion. So for example, I passed a motion, I want some change in the motion. How I can? In that case, subsidiary motions come. There, every time you have to think there is always one main motion only will be in debate. And for that main motion, we can have a subsidiary motion. And the lowest priority will be for your main motion. So I brought a motion. Then if somebody brings a subsidiary motion, then the subsidiary motion is the highest priority. It has to be discussed first and then only you can go to the main. I will explain, right? So there are different subsidiary motion. The least, the order of precedence next to our main motion is the postpone indefinitely. If, for example, somebody has proposed a motion and another member seconded. Now there is no choice for the president to place it. And you feel that because of that topic is very hot and there is some commotion in the hall. There is pandemonium and it becomes unruly. At the time, what to do? One of the member can stand and say that to postpone indefinitely. This is one thing. See, it is indirect way of killing emotion. Somebody has brought a motion which is not conducive for that club. If somebody debates about the topic, it is going to create division in the club. In that case, we can pass this motion to postpone indefinitely. Okay, so this is another thing. If it is you can this postpone indefinitely, you can kill the motion. Either it becomes unruly or for that purpose, or it is not required for the club. If you feel that motion is not required for the club, then we can postpone indefinitely. It is an indirect way of killing a motion. Amendment. If you want to do some amendment, the motion is brought and it was not phrased properly or it was not clear. For example, to increase the club fee, somebody has brought it general statement. So how much to increase? So other percentages. So if you want to amend the motion, you can bring a subsidiary motion to amend the main motion and say that the club fees will be 4,000. So the main motion was, it is proposed that the club fees is increased. So how much to increase? or next man, he can bring club fees can be increased by 200 rupees. So, oh yeah, from earlier fees, it is going to be increased by another 200 rupees. So this is how we can make a reword, or you can insert a word, or you can strike as some words. All this can be done for the main motion. Refer to a committee. If people are discussing about some topic, some motion, and you feel that this has to be given to some knowledgeable person, to a select group of people to discuss or investigate and find and give the report to back to them. So in that case, I can bring a motion to refer to a committee. Then the presiding officer will say, okay, you will appoint so and so person as a chair of that particular committee to investigate about this motion, what was the motion pending, and give a report. So it is easy for now. So it is not, sometimes not all the club members are knowledgeable to take a decision. If you feel like that, then you can bring a motion called refer to it. Postpone to a certain time. Earlier I was telling postpone indefinitely. When I want to postpone indefinitely, so I definitely it is like killing the motion. But this one is postponed to a certain time. For example, I want to postpone for next meeting. I feel that today we were talking about a subject where something there the treasurer is required, and unfortunately treasurer was not there. So there is no point in debating about the topic. So in that case, we can bring a motion to postpone to a certain time. Or else, as per agenda, I already mentioned we have to follow the agenda. Sometimes you want to change the order. You want to, for there was 2 or 3 motion to be discussed and you want to change it to the last. In that case, you can postpone. It needs 2/3 majority. If you are doing it for the, once the agenda is adopted, you want to make a change, it needs 2/3 majority. Limit or extend limits of debate. This is for timing purpose. You want to limit for each speaker 2 minutes. Yes. This also required 2/3 majority. And previous question is nothing but close the debate. And you have seen that people are discussing and people have started talking about something mundane which is not required, or it's not germane to the topic of in front. So in that case, you can request for close the debate and go for lay down table. You can put aside a pending motion. For example, if there is a visitor, our club, our district director has arrived to our club. So you want to lay down the motion because you know that very well. District director is a busy person. He will stay there for another 10 or 15 minutes. So you don't want to. So you want his address to be delivered first. In that case, you can lay your motion on table, and then after that, you can once again you can take it for a debate. This is the main subsidiary motion. In that case, if you see this postpone indefinitely will be the least priority, the order of precedence. Then comes amendment, then refer to committee like that. This all is based on a logic. This will help you to transact the business very fast, to make any decision fast. Next comes the privileged motions. This privileged motions is nothing to do with your main motion. It is all about the members' privilege. Okay. Call for order of the day. When the presiding officer first at the beginning says, I will follow the call. If he says a call to order, that means he's going to follow the agenda. And if he's not following the agenda and he's not following whatever it is, as per the parliamentary procedure, members has the right to inform the president, call for order. So it doesn't need any, you can interrupt the president. It doesn't require debate for a second, and it is not debatable, and it doesn't require voting. Directly, the decision can be taken by the president because the orders of the day is not followed. Raise a question of privilege. This is for the members. I am attending your club. I am a member of your club. Assume that I am a member of club. And there is a topic, the debate discussion is going on. And I am sitting at the back of, and I couldn't hear. So what is the point in allowing the debate to continue? So now I have, as a member, I have the privilege to listen to them. Then I can stand and say that it is not audible. So it has to be resolved, and then only we can. Next is the recess. The debate is going for long time, 2 hours or so, and you are tired and you want to have a break. Yes, it's a natural thing. So unusual. So you can bring a motion to have a recess for 5 minutes or 10. Adjourn. To adjourn a meeting, a member can bring this is the one thing I told, where the you can postpone indefinitely is killing the motion. Here it is to adjourn the meeting completely. If there is a commotion in the hall and pandemonium and there is everywhere people are unruly, in that case you have to adjourn the meeting. So adjourn is president can request somebody to propose a motion. So I can propose to adjourn. So it is adjourned. There is another one is fixed time to adjourn. Normal meeting, when the meeting is getting over, the presiding officer has to say that declare that the meeting is adjourned to next Saturday or next Sunday. You can tell the date or next Sunday. So we have to tell the fixed time. So this is the normal procedure. At some of the clubs I have seen that they just adjourn. The meeting is adjourned. You should not say meeting is adjourned. Meeting is adjourned to next Sunday. Or next your date, you can say next, or a meeting is adjourned to 8th March or 10th March, whatever it is. This is how we have to follow. Today I have completed some 13 motions, the main motion, 5 privileged motions, and 7 subsidiary motions. This is mostly we will be limited to this. Very rarely we go into the incidental motion and the special motion. So it is good for intermediate level clubs to understand about the importance of these 13 motions and the order of precedence. So this is the main chart of motions. It's available in the net. You can Google and get chart of motions. If you see there, you see the 13th one is the original main motion. Before that, you have postponed indefinitely, amendment, and then refer to committee, all those things. The highest priority is fixed time to adjourn the meeting. So people are not interested in listening to what presiding officer is speaking or somebody is talking. Yes, we can go for adjourn. So this is how it is. You can see that whether you can interrupt it is clearly mentioned, whether it requires second, whether it is amendable, whether it is debatable, and what is the required vote, majority, or for that motion to be adopted. You can see very well the 2/3 majority is for the closing a debate or limiting the time of debate. It requires 2/3 majority. The remaining we have another some important motions, incidental motions, and finally there are 2 special motions, which is the last one, 22nd and 23rd, rescind and reconsider. This you can all this said I can take it whenever there is for advanced level. First, the club has to follow the normal business meeting, and they have to start. The members has to be well versed in following these 13 motions. Until because at least 50% of the members should know about all the motions. And the club can appoint an individual parliamentarian. It is not necessary that presiding officer has to always know all the points, not required. Club parliamentarian, senior most member can be a club parliamentarian. So he will assist the presiding officer if there is some doubt. Otherwise, he should not interfere. Presiding officer is the main person. He will be the presiding the meeting. This is how a parliamentary procedure is followed. All are done to follow the democratic procedures to take a decision. Any questions?
Aditya Silvaraj Abhirami here. I have one question. First of all, on that postponing a motion or postponing a motion to an indefinite period, like when do they initiate that? Once someone proposes it and seconds it, I think it will not be possible to postpone it indefinitely, right? At which stage would they do that?
Yeah, that's a good point. See, when to bring that motion, postpone indefinitely. Now remember, I told you already, your club has 50 members. In order to motions to be to go for a debate, we need only 2 people. Out of 50 members, 2 people, one has proposed and the second one has seconded the motion. Now the presiding officer doesn't have any powers to put down the motion, or he will say, no, we don't want to discuss. He doesn't have the right to say that. Now the presiding officer, he places the motion in front. Okay, he has to be neutral, so he will place it. Now, as a senior member of the club, I know very well this topic is not required for our club. Something which is going to spoil our club atmosphere. I know very well. And majority of the members also know this. Immediately we should not allow that motion to be debated. This is very rarely it will happen in a club meeting. It is not, I am telling, it is always you have to do that. If it is something which can be discussed, allow them to debate. That is the freedom now we have. As a member, I should have. That is why we said the minority has a say. So we should allow them to debate if it is not going to affect or spoil the club atmosphere. We are going to spend another 5 minutes for the debate. That's all. Members, majority will vote and decide. But if you feel that debate itself is going to create a controversy, it will create conflicts, and dispute will arise because of that meeting, then in that case, what they have to do? So as a senior members or the club officers, the only presiding officer cannot talk about it. The remaining club officers, they can. VP education can talk, VP membership can talk, or all the other people can participate in a debate. Immediately, I can bring another motion to postpone this motion indefinitely.
Okay.
So it is an indirect way of killing a motion. This is what most of the people they don't know, because I was going for many clubs. They were asking the same thing. If some controversial topic was opened by somebody, how to manage this? No need to worry. You know the other members you are going to support, the majority is going to support. You bring another motion. See, that is an amendment for that. Sorry, it is the secondary motion for the main motion, subsidiary motion. So what you are doing, in the subsidiary motion, you are telling clearly to them that please. So now you are postponed indefinitely. Now you are happy.
Okay.
Right? Or else, this is for the first one. If it is, you feel that it can be discussed in the next meeting because the club officers is not prepared, or they don't have sufficient knowledge, or they don't have sufficient points, that the information is lagging. You know little, but you want to collect more information. Yes, I can bring another motion to postpone to a certain time. Certain time means next meeting. You can't postpone for 1 month. Right? So as your procedure, I think if you are meeting monthly once, then you can say the meeting is adjourned for next business. So you can postpone it to. This is how we can handle this. The club president and the team has to know about it. Particularly president and VP education, they should be aware what we should do when certain motion is passed. See, there are clubs. Recently, I met with the situation. They passed a motion to reduce the club fees to an extent that, and the motion is passed. Now the club can't do anything because the members has approved to reduce the fees, and your dollar rate has gone high. You have to pay the new fees as per the dollar. Now what to do? You have to bring a new motion stating that something you have to make or when you're making a change in your club fee structure, already it is going to be changed in your bylaw. The bylaw you are mentioning clearly that what is your club fees. Now you are going to change something in the bylaw. Then you have to. So if it is a normal one, you want to arrange for a club tour, or you want a joint meeting. Somebody is proposing for a joint meeting. It is, you won't spend much. Okay, this is no problem. Even if you accept it, you can go and try. But what about the club fees? How you are going to run the club? Yes. Any other questions? I hope I have answered your question.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So, DTM Sivaraj, this election, I have a question. So, when to pass a motion or to discuss, bring a motion to a table, we need a presiding officer, right? Just in case the presiding officer is not there, then the VPE should be there. So, what is the minimum attendance required for the ExCom members? Suppose if we have a quorum for 50% quorum. If 50% of the excom is not available, is it valid to conduct the meeting?
Sorry, if you are talking about the regular club meeting, club business meeting, or the excom meeting, the executive committee meeting is you have only 7 members present. Total 7, including your immediate past present 8. So if you want the executive committee to meet and take decision for your excom meeting, and it's not for the regular business meeting. If it is for excom meeting, you need 50%. Quorum should be present. Why 50% is at least the majority should be present that to take decision. What is the use in only president and VP education sitting and taking decision? So it is for excom. But when it comes to club membership, they don't think about excom is present or this, nothing required. We need only the 50% of your active members present. So active members is the club has to decide. If you're not defined that one, in that case, it is your membership, total membership. Total membership 50 means you need 25. 25 plus 1, 26 members should be present to ratify or take decision. Got my point?
Yes.
Yeah, excom meeting is different. Our regular business meeting is different. For regular business meeting, it is presiding officer should be present. And if in absence, the next in charge will take. Yes, please. Any other questions, please? Already it's time up. If you have, I can take one more questions. One more. Timer allows me. I think no other questions. Thank you very much. And if you have any further any questions you want to get clarified, please do contact me. I am easily available. Your DTM Srikanth is in touch with me. So you can ask through him or anybody. You will have my number. I will the chat box. I will write my number. Please, if you have any doubt, contact me. Thank you very much for that. Yes, please. Back to our Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Sivaraj. Well, it's wonderful to hear you speak about the parliamentary procedures. So much of knowledge about how an organization works, and you have given us threadbare for us to understand at the intermediary level, shows that how committed and an adroit parliamentarian you are, and you have been serving the District 120. It's a great honor. And also, off the record, I would be very happy in the future if you call me a DTM. Right now, I am only a Toastmaster, far-sighted Toastmaster. Thank you, DTM Sivaraj. It was wonderful listening to you. The entire club stands up in unison to say a big thank you for your time and your effort. Thank you very much once again. And now that we have finished our education session, even before we can go into the next part of today's meeting, which is a prepared speech, just a small tip or a problem that most of the beginning speakers or even speakers who are good in public speaking, they face a peculiar problem. And I've heard most of the Toastmasters to whom I've met coming up with this problem, saying that when they start speaking, halfway through their speech, their voice turns hoarse. It becomes dry. And that's a problem that most of us, including me, had faced. And what literally happens is, it's a big mistake that most of us make, that when we start speaking, we start breathing in, taking in air through our mouth. That's a big no. Here's a small exercise, just a few seconds. Just a few seconds, I want you to listen to me and do this for me. Now, sit straight, without dropping your head. Breathe in through your mouth. Take a deep breath, hold it for a second, and breathe out. And when you do this, the chances are some of you might cough or you might feel dry in your throat. Now, the next thing what you need to do is, instead of taking air through your mouth, breathe through your nose, which you're supposed to do, and exhale through your nose. And here, what happens is, you don't feel dryness in your throat, because when you take in that air, which is filled with moisture, that's going to moisturize your throat as well as your vocal cord. Your voice will never turn hoarse. So have this in mind. You can breathe out through your mouth, but definitely don't breathe in through your mouth when you're giving a speech. That's a big no. These are one of the techniques that you need to hone and you need to improvise on so that it doesn't become a big problem once you start establishing yourself as a good speaker. Now, we are going into the prepared speech today. We have one speaker. And even before I can call him, he's a very interesting person, very, very interesting. A person who never says die. Even the worst goes before him. Such an inspiring and a person I always admire. Before I call him, his speech has a procedure where it is being evaluated by an evaluator. Because there are certain rules, there are certain points that he needs to incorporate in his speech. So that evaluation is being done today by our presiding officer, Toastmaster Abhirami, who is going to tell us what the objective should be in the first speaker's speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Abhirami.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Shrikant. Today, my target speaker is delivering his second speech in the second level of presentation mastery, which is on effective body language. The purpose of this project is for the member to deliver a speech with awareness of intentional and unintentional body language, as well as to learn, practice, and refine how he or she uses non-verbal communication when delivering a speech. Timer, please note that the allocated time is 5 to 7 minutes. Good luck to my speaker. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Shrikant.
Thank you, presiding officer. The title of today's speaker's speech is, it's not what, but why. I repeat, it's not what, but why. He is a research scholar from one of the premier institutions of India, Indian Institute of Technology, Madras. As I've told you, a person who has made his life a part and parcel of facing challenges and overcoming them. He has seen what it takes to be successful in your academic as well as in your professional life. Please join me in welcoming this inspiring personality, Toastmaster Sharath. Over to you, Toastmaster Sharath. Are you there, Sharath?
Yes, sir. Am I audible? I was just doing the exercise that you have.
Sharath, probably you can start again, and I've just spotlighted you. It was not visible.
How many of us here will feel tired on the first working day of the week and feel happy on the last working day of the week? Let me see some hands. Yeah, almost everyone. Toastmaster of the day or voice master of the day. My dear fellow Toastmasters and guests, as our TMOD introduced me as a research scholar at IIT Madras, the job of research scholar is very simple. We have to read through journal papers. We should see the research gaps and we should fill those gaps with new ideas. Many days while reading through this research paper, for me, time will pass like anything. 5 hours will feel like 5 minutes. Now, don't think that Sharath will be in such a flow state enjoying what he's doing. No. 5 hours, only 5 minutes I will be awake. Remaining 4 hours, 55 minutes, I will be in kind of sleepy position. So much boring. And many times when I work on my lab, if I don't get the results which I desire, I used to feel frustrated, demotivated, and tired. Just within a few months of joining as a research scholar, the life got bored. Not only this, my life as a volunteer in an NGO called Matram Foundation, or my life as a tutor in a tuition academy, or even as a public speaker in our Toastmasters club, the initial energy level which I had when joining slowly started to decrease over a point of time. Have you ever felt the same situation in your life? Now, stories are very powerful. Stories have the impact to change someone's life. One day I was going through the story in a YouTube, and I'm going to share the story for the next 2 minutes. Let's go to the story. Once upon a time, in a village, there was a traveler called Sam. Sam used to travel to a lot of villages and he used to speak to a lot of people. One day he came to the village, he saw some people working in the field. And Sam was very much curious. He can see they are breaking stones. He was very much curious in why they are doing. So he went to the first man he saw and he asked, "What you are doing?" And the first man replied with shouting voice, "Hey, are you blind? Can't you see I'm breaking rock?" Sam said, "No, no, no. I can see you are breaking rock. But why are you doing? Idiot, I am myself under this burning sun doing this horrible and terrible job. Get lost from here." Our Sam got little nervous. He thought himself, what I have asked, why he is so angry? And then you slowly walk to the another person, and he saw another second person was also doing the same work. And now, with gathering much confidence, he again asked the same person and second person the question, "Why are you doing this time with little modification?" And the second man replied, "I am doing this for because 200 rupees they will give at the end of the day. I used to have that for my food. Apart from that, please don't ask me anything. I don't have any time to think about that. And please move away from this place. I should break this stone and do this horrible job. Please get away." And Sam felt sorry for this man and he gave some 50 rupees and he moved on. But still, he didn't got any answer to his question. And while walking some distance, he saw another man, the third man, who was adroit in his skillfully walking, breaking the stone, slowly, passionately cutting the stone. And now Sam asked the third person, why are you doing? And now the third person replied, "Son, here we are going to build a temple, and these stones are going to be the pillars of those temples." And now Sam asked one more question. Didn't you feel horrible, terrible under this burning sun? And now the man replied, "Son, in our village, the people used to go 8 kilometers by walk to worship a god to the next town because we don't have any temple so far. And the king now has ordered to build a temple. Each time when I break this stone with the hammer, the joy of future people fills my heart. And I used to sing songs of God and used to break this stone. And this is the sweetest moments I ever had in my life." Now Sam got the answer and also message. The message is very simple. It's not what you're doing, it's why you're doing it. And after this story, I slowly started to observe in my life what's happening. I was in a position of the first man, second man, most of the time. As a first man, I don't even know as a PhD scholar what I am doing. Mostly, I got frustrated. As a second man, sometimes I have worked for the results, publishing journals paper for fame, name, money, stipend, some kind of recognition. But I have never been in the third person's place. I asked myself, why I am doing what I am doing? And after a lot of introspection, some answers I got was, just because I love the subject, the curiosity in gathering knowledge, and finally, for the development of our nation, which gives me salary every month. And when I used to feel depressed or demotivated after that, in any point in my life, in the life of a PhD scholar, I used to remember this story, and especially from the angle of the third person. And I used to ask, why are you doing? My dear friends, ask yourself why you are doing whatever you are doing. It can be any job. It can be the role of janitor. It can be a role of garbage cleaner. It can be a role of CEO of your company, HR professional, any job. Doesn't matter. Ask yourself, why are you doing? And if you ask, you know what's going to happen? Your first working day of the week is going to be happy, and the last working day of your week is going to be hard because you're going to love it. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Sharath. Having heard you, we now know it's not what, but wise. As you rightly pointed out, and you made us realize there is no dignity of labor and there is a divinity in every profession that we take. Wonderful speech. Thank you once again for giving us such a beautiful insight of all this is about. And now we are going to the next session. Well, this to me is going to be a practical session about the first tip that I have told you, where you don't breathe in through your mouth, but you breathe in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. This is going to happen to a select few who are lucky and get a chance to speak. Table topic session. So to conduct this impromptu speaking session, we have a Toastmaster who is a chartered accountant. She loves to travel and explore. Read books are among her various interests and what she loves doing about her free time. Now let us join together to welcome our table topic master, Monica Gopalakrishnan. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Srikanth, for a wonderful introduction. Today, I'm the table topics master. So one of the most exciting portions of the Toastmaster meeting is the table topic session. The main objective is to challenge members to develop their impromptu communication skills to effectively think on their feet by answering the unrehearsed questions. We also want to give every member the opportunity to speak at each meeting. We do this with the table topic session. Table topics is specifically designed to develop 4 essential communication skills: listening, thinking, organizing, and speaking. Today, as your table topics master, I'll be asking questions related to our theme, Master Your Voice. Your response must be at least to the 1 minute, and it can be up to the maximum of 2 minutes. You will see a green signal after 1 minute, your minimum time, yellow signal at 1.5 minutes, and red signal at 2 minutes. You will also get 30 minutes extra time to wrap up your speech. So shall we start? Is everyone excited? So now I would like to call our first table topic speaker, Toastmaster Vignesh.
Yes, Toastmaster Monica.
So today your topic is how does your voice influence your speech effectiveness? Toastmaster Vignesh. And Toastmaster Vignesh, how does your voice influence your speech effectiveness?
Thanks for a wonderful topic, Toastmaster Monica. So, yeah, mostly I was, my voice was very, so I'm not a public speaker. So I am here to improve my public speaking skills. And also I was not loud. I was almost, my voice would be medium level. So this today I was very curious to learn something about voice modulation and how to change the pitch so that audience will be engaged with our voice. So that I was willing to learn from Toastmasters. I could have remember one previous meeting where DTM Venu told about high pitch and low pitch. He had some practical. He told those things. So I used many meetings. So sometimes if audience were very dull, right? Hello Toastmasters. Like I will increase my volume, and sometimes pitch will be high frequency, and those are also I try to use in my. So I believe that voice modulation is really an important one, and pass also required wherever it needs. Yes, that's about this topic. Back to you, Monica.
That was a wonderful speech, Toastmaster Vignesh. So next, I would like to call Toastmaster Anirudh.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, Toastmaster Anirudh. So your topic is, what is your first inspiration for public speaking? What's your inspiration? what is your inspiration? Toastmaster Anirudh, what is your inspiration for public speaking?
Thank you, Toastmaster Monica. The topic that I've given is my first inspiration for public speaking. Generally, since I was a kid around still 10th grade, I was always very scared of speaking in public for anything. Whether it was among even my family members or even in school for any competition or anything. And I was too scared to speak always. I just used to by heart stuff and then go talk and then just tell without in attention, even if I used to miss many things. I always wanted to come out of it, but then my fear of failure didn't allow me to do something to get out of this. So recently, while I was applying for many colleges, doing an interview, I also mentioned this in my icebreaker. I did the exam very well, but then in the interview, I got so tense. I messed up many things and I answered many things wrongly, and I forgot to mention some of my other achievements, which could have entirely changed the way my interviewers saw me. So it was only after that interview that I realized that I was so bad and I had to do something. Because even out after college, public speaking is a skill that is very much necessary. Because when you go for board meetings or everything, I need to be sure to express what is in my mind clearly. And so that there was my inspiration to break out of my shell and at least try to hone my skills in public speaking. So that was my first inspiration. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anirudh. Next, I would request Toastmaster Deepak Thompson.
Yes, table topics, Master.
Your topic is what is your first speech experience? What is your first speech experience, Toastmaster Deepak Thompson? Toastmaster Deepak Thompson, what is your first speech experience?
Thank you, Toastmaster Monica. My first speech experience, well, I couldn't remember at all because I was a baby at my mother's hand. Maybe Ga Boo is the first experience I think I remember. But when I eat, I remember my mom used to tell, I used to come to my mom every time, give me more food. So at the age of 5 itself, I started eating everything. So I kept on asking for more food. It became my inspiration for my speech. And I went to school and I started giving more speeches about food. So that's how my entire speech journey started. Yes, if you ask me, Toastmaster Monica, this is the first and the great experience which I had with food and I had with speech. Then I wanted to improve my speech. And when I started improving my speech, I went to a hotel and asked for, four friends, we asked for biryani. And then one of my friend ordered one biryani. And my next friend ordered another biryani. Then the turn came to me, I ordered 2 biryanis. But my friend sitting next to me, hey, Macha, I don't want the biryani. Who asked you? It is for me. And the guy was shocked. You are going to eat 2 biryanis? Yes, I was going to eat 2 biryanis. That time, I realized everyone started laughing. That time I realized a small humor adds to your speech will make an impact. So I joined Toastmasters now to make an impact. Over to you, Toastmaster Monica.
Thank you, Toastmaster Deepak Thompson. That was a wonderful explanation. It was very nice. Timer, do we have extra minutes for table topic session? Can I call one more speaker?
Yes, you can, Toastmaster Monica.
I would request our new member, Toastmaster Krishna, to come forward for the table topic session. Or the guest. Guest Sahil Tomar.
Toastmaster Monica, this is Kalvat here. I want to nominate volunteer.
Sure. Toastmaster Kalvat, your topic is don't just count the days and make the days count. Don't just count the days and make the days count, Toastmaster Kalvat.
Okay, thank you so much, table topic master. My topic is don't just count the days, let days just count, right?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay, good evening, table topic master, Toastmasters, and my dear guest. Thanks for the opportunity to speak on the topic. Don't just count the days, let's days just count. When I just think on this topic, I was thinking about the goals which I have to set for myself to reach any destination. Whatever the goals, whatever the plan which we normally do for any action, which we normally say, okay, I have to complete in 5 days, or I have to complete in 10 days, or 30 days, 1 year. So that's how the planning will happen. So instead of actually looking on the plan, your intention has to be completing the project or the completing the goal with your 100% involvement. And when you do your 100% involvement on the activity which you are doing, that will give you a result in terms of what exactly you're looking for and what you are love for. Instead of stating that, okay, I have to complete my any activity which has to be completed in 2 days or 3 days or 5 days, then you may not be able to give the 100% on your dedication here. Then you will be time bound to it and you may not be able to succeed. So this is what it comes to me, but knowingly that whenever there is a topic which we have to look, either would be on the table topic, on the topic or the against the topic, it's something better to influence your personal things. It is always help us to reach the goal. And so thanks for the opportunity, Monica.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kalvat. I would now request the timer to mention the names of qualified table topic speakers.
Yes, Toastmaster Monica. Of all the 4 speakers that spoke, Toastmaster Vignesh, Anirudh, Deepak, and Kalvat, all of them are qualified within the required stipulated time of 2 minutes.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rahul. I will now hand over the session to the Toastmaster of the day. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Toastmaster Monica. A very good topics and really a good attempt that was made by you. Thank you very much. All the topics were very interesting and all of them made a very wonderful effort on to speak about the topic. Now there is a belief among most of the speakers that when, let me put it across the other way. So if we have to lift a heavy object or we need to push something, most of us, what we do is we take a deep breath, hold our breath, and try to lift an object. That doesn't hold true for public speaking or for any kind of speaking matter. Most of the communicators, they think that having a lot of air in your lungs is going to make you a good communicator. You're going to speak well. No, it doesn't. As we have seen how we breathe in and breathe out, now we need to know how we go about this breathing technique when we are giving a speech so that you don't feel short of breath. This is a technical term. It's called diaphragmatic breathing. It's very simple. All you need to do is just have a few seconds for me. What we can do right now is we sit back with our shoulders straight, take in a deep breath through your nose and imagine there is a balloon in your abdomen and you're going to fill that balloon with air, which means as you breathe in, you bring out your abdomen filled with air. And as you breathe out, say to yourself loudly, if your audio is muted, Shrikant, wants me to speak in TT. That is, as you breathe out, you bring your abdomen inside and you say these words, Srikant wants me to speak in a TT speech. So this is called diaphragmatic breathing. So once you start practicing this, when you give a speech, you become really comfortable and you're able to modulate your voice. There are instances where you're short of breath. There could be a reason that you need to raise your voice, but you're not able to take in that breath. You're not breathing properly. So these two things are a very big stumbling block in becoming a good speaker. So try to avoid this, and this keeps coming to you, and you have to practice regularly. Because I truly believe the last thing that any speaker would like to hear is a recorded speech given by him and listen to it. Would you agree with me? I don't want to listen what I have spoken. Neither do you want to listen how you had given a speech recorded and you play it over and over again. So to overcome that, we need to have this skill of good breathing technique. Okay, now that we have come to the TT session, now is the time for the general evaluation to be done. The entire meeting is going to be evaluated by a general evaluator, and he's going to give us a comprehensive report of how this meeting has unfolded and what and where we stand and how do we get to the next level. I request our general evaluator, Toastmaster Abhilash, to kindly take over. Over to you, Abhilash.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the day. Once again, a very warm good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. It is now time for us to begin the evaluation session. Evaluation, they say, is at the heart of the Toastmasters moment and not without good cause. Where it is possible for us to improve, we are going to put it out in clear detail. The evaluation session is going to be divided into three parts: the prepared speech evaluation, followed by the TAC report, and finally the general evaluator's report of the overall meeting. Now let us begin with the speech evaluations. To evaluate Toastmaster Sharath, we have Toastmaster Abhirami, an accomplished speaker and a past Vice President Education and Vice President membership of our club. She is currently our president. Professionally, she is a chartered accountant working as assistant vice president at Barclays Bank. Toastmaster Abhirami, over to you to evaluate Toastmaster Sharath's speech.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abhilash. What a wonderful speech. It is not just a well-organized speech, but my target speaker today also had a wonderful message. A message of it is not what, but why you do something. Today, I will be evaluating this particular speech slightly differently, not just on the message or the speech structure, but more on the aspects of body language. To look at what went well in this speech in terms of the aspects of body language, first, to start with, our target speaker, he was standing there upright in the center of the stage. The posture that he carried, what I felt was he was very confident the way he stood. That was really good, the way you started. Second thing that I observed was the stage movement. He utilized the stage to the fullest extent. He was there at the front at the start. And when he started the story, he moved back as a transition. And then there were three men who were involved in that story. And for that, he beautifully hopped across the stage. And lastly, he also circled it back where he was talking about the three men, comparing them. He moved from here to the center to the left. So that usage of stage and connecting it with the story was really incredible, Toastmaster Sharath. Lastly, the action and hand gestures. In the starting of the speech where you're talking about the research and looking through the lens and saying 5 hours to 5 minutes, all that actions were very natural, and it also went along with the speech. It was not delayed or prior. It was right on time and it looked very natural. And of course, the best part that I really loved all through was your hand gestures, which was very natural. It comes very naturally to you. So that is a wonderful thing. Now, talking about things that you can improve to make this speech even better would be first your facial expression. So most of the speech, you were smiling. So that is something that you can work on consciously, because where you said you are frustrated, yes, I saw a feeling of frustration. But where you were like, I'm bored, the research is little boring, then or even in those spaces you were smiling. So that is something you can consciously work on the facial expressions part. And the second part is on the tone. I think the tone was more or less the same all through the speech. You can work on some vocal variety here and there, especially when it's going from one man to the other in the story. That would bring some differentiation in the various characters that you've brought into your speech. The third thing is the pace. I think your pace can be a little slower. That will enable you to, give more facial expressions and vocal variety. That will enable you for demonstrating more. Overall, this was an excellent attempt. I'm sure if you practice this a little more, you will be able to master the facial expressions and the vocal variety aspects as well. I'm looking forward to hear your next speech. Good luck to you. Thank you. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abhirami. That was a well-paced and effective evaluation, I must say. Now, let us move on to the tag reports for the day. Up first, we have our timer, Toastmaster Rahul, with his report. Toastmaster Rahul, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abhiraj. I'll be sharing my screen with the results. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Rahul.
So we started the meeting with Sergeant at Arms, Toastmaster Vishnu, and he took a time of 1 minute 45 seconds to introduce himself in the respective meeting. Then the presiding officer, Toastmaster Abhirami, took a time of 1 minute 57 seconds. Then the Toastmaster went on with his introduction for 3 minutes 45 seconds. Then the general evaluator, Toastmaster Abhiraj, took 2 minutes 57 seconds. And then me as a timer, I took 45 seconds for my introduction. Then our counter, Toastmaster Lakshmi Narayana sir, took 50 seconds. And then the grammarian for his introduction took Toastmaster Bharat took 1 minute 15 seconds. For the education session, we had distinct Toastmaster Shivaraj who took 30 minutes and 10 seconds, just qualified for the same. And for the prepared speakers, we have only one speaker, Toastmaster Sharat, who took 6 minutes 20 seconds, and he qualified. For the table topics, we had 4 speakers, Toastmaster Vignesh, Anirudh, Deepak, and Kalbat. All of them qualified within a stipulated time of 2 minutes. And at final, we had Toastmaster Abhirami as an evaluator who took 3 minutes and 10 seconds for her evaluation. Yeah, thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster Abhirami.
Thank you, Rahul. That was a great report. Next up, we have the R-Counters report from our R-Counter for today, Toastmaster Lakshmi Narayana. Over to you, Toastmaster Lakshmi.
Thank you, Abhilash. I'm just sharing my screen of the R-Counter report. So to begin with the R-Counter, I just started capturing the R-Counter from the TMOD session. So Toastmaster Abhilash had one, as well. And Toastmaster Rahul as a timer reporting had 3+ hours. And Toastmaster Sharath had 1 pause and repeated words. And Toastmaster Monica had 2 hours. Toastmaster Vignesh had 3+ hours. Toastmaster Deepak had 1 hour, and Toastmaster Abhirami had 2 hours and 1 repeated words. That's it from my report, and over to you, Toastmaster Abhilash.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lakshmi. A huge round of applause for the flawless speakers. Next up, the final tag report, and the most important, perhaps, them all, our grammarians report.
Yes, Toastmaster.
Sorry, I was on mute. So thank you, Toastmaster Lakshmi Narayana. Great report, and congratulations to all the flawless speakers. Next up, let us hear from our grammarian, Toastmaster Bharat. Over to you, Bharat.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abhilash. First of all, I would like to congratulate Toastmaster Srikanth and Toastmaster Sharath for using the word of the day. And also, we have got a tremendous amount of outstanding words today over the speech. Few of them which I have noted are from the Toastmaster Srikanth are improvise, part and parcel, divinity, global insights, tumbling blocks, and from Toastmaster Abhilash it is lucidly, and from our D2M distinguished Toastmaster Shivraj, I've seen quorum, rat the gavel, conducive, and mundane. And from Toastmaster Sharath, the introspection and not what and why we do. That is something which I wanted to share. And from Toastmaster Deepak, I see fear of from Toastmaster Anirudh, I could see fear of failure, get rid of, break out myself. And from Toastmaster Kalvat, it's time bound. And one more thing which we could have improvised, not particularly on the speaker. It's kind of, let's say if we use I did got, so instead of which we could use I did get or I got. Since we are using did and got as both the past tense, so it is recommended to use I did get or I got. This is one recommendations which I thought of sharing it with you. And that's all from the grammarian part of Toastmaster Abhilash. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bharat. That was indeed a wonderful report. It is now time for me to present the general evaluation report for today's meeting. We as a club pride ourselves on starting our meetings perfectly on time. And I was expecting that today as well, but there was a small 1 minute deviation today. I'm sure it was just a small burr. We will correct that as we go forward. The presiding officer opened the meeting very confidently and the guests were welcomed properly. Kudos on that. As a good practice, we have our secretary reading out the report of the previous meeting which is again a good practice. Let us keep that up. Now coming to our Toastmaster of the day, despite the time schedule that we had a very packed schedule today. The Toastmaster of the day has displayed excellent time management skills today while also doing justice to his theme. He has ensured that transitions are properly governed. Speakers, the educational session speaker and the prepared speaker, they were all properly applauded towards the end, and he introduced the general evaluator and the table topic master beautifully. If there was one thing, I think it was a spur of the moment where he forgot to mention that we had 3 segments for a Toastmaster meeting, but nevertheless he covered that up by explaining each session in detail whenever the session started. That was indeed a job well done. Kudos Toastmaster Shrikant Kutikrishnan. It was a wonderful effort from you today. Next up, our table topic master. This was an amazing session today. Excellent theme-oriented topics. Not many table topic masters attempt that, but our table topic master today, Toastmaster Monica, had all topics in line with the theme. Great. And she ensured that she called the non-role players first, and there were no role players called today. That was also a great effort from her. And I think this is the first time she's performing that role. Not sure, but despite that, even seasoned Toastmasters forget to call out the qualified speakers towards the end. She ensured that she did not forget that. It was an all-round performance. Great efforts, Toastmaster Monica. Keep up the good work. And then coming to the tag report, as impeccable as usual, all the 3, timer, Archontra and the grammarian, were very professional, typed in their reports, shared it on screen for everyone to view. Kudos, all 3 of you. What I would suggest is the agenda to be released a little beforehand. I think the agenda was released only today morning, especially because we have an educational session and a business meeting combined today. Releasing it a little beforehand will allow our members to plan their times accordingly, because no one will want to miss an educational session or the or the business meeting. These are very important segments. So when we do have that, I request that the agenda be publicized earlier. So, and one major recommendation today is our SAA takes the effort to open the meeting around half an hour before the meeting. And when I joined in today, I regret to say that there were no role players, no role player testing of audio or video was done. We opened the meeting prior so that we can all test our audio and video. So I would request our role players to join in and our VP team to ensure that the audio and video checking is properly done, so that we can avoid any untoward circumstances if they do happen. This is one thing. So I joined in specifically a little early, but I regret that that did not happen. Apart from that, we had an excellent quality meeting today. Everything went pitch perfect. The timing was impeccable, and we are slated to close the meeting also perfectly on time. Kudos, excellently managed meeting, a very high quality meeting. The evaluator today was very effective. I think that is the kind of evaluations we seek for in Toastmasters. Encouraging yet helpful to see where you can improve. Overall, great quality. And now I will hand over the control back to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Shrikant Kutikrishnan.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator. I'm sure not only you're very good at numbers as a chartered accountant, but also to go in depth of what happened in the last 1 to 1.5 hours was something that you have dedicated listening to and giving us a very valuable feedback. Thank you very much for your effort and the dedication that you have shown to improve the quality of a club meeting. Before I wind up, I've shared with you the technique that needs to be followed or practiced for breathing, because once you get your breathing under control, you will be able to master the other skills like voice modulation, pitch, volume, or all the rest of the things. So here's my humble request, and here is what I want to close this meeting with, or hand over to the presiding officer. As I've told you in the beginning, your voice is a gift to be given or served to others. Please join me in making this world a better place. Let your voice be a hope for a child who has lost his parent. May your voice be reassuring to a family member who has gone through difficult times. Let your voice be the change that the world requires. Let your voice bring peace and tranquility across this world where we are going through some turbulent times. Let your voice be the change that we all need. Thank you very much, and wishing all the wonderful women who have joined us today a very happy Women's Day. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. Back to the presiding officer.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Srikanth. What an amazing presentation today as a Toastmaster of the Day. It was really good seeing you perform. It was indeed a great meeting, an entertaining meeting, and all the role players really stunned and sizzled on stage. A good performance. Let's have quality meetings like these in the future as well. Now, I think it's time to launch the polls. Meanwhile, we can also hear from the guests that we have today. So I think we have two guests. Guest Sahil. Guest Sahil, are you available? We would like to hear your feedback on what you felt about
a very hearty good evening to everyone. This is Sahil Tomar, and I'm doing my MTech from IIT Roorkee. And I'm not very much well versed with all the terminologies being used here, but I came to know about this this Toastmaster, and I thought it could be useful for me for the coming time. That's why I'm here.
That's great. Welcome, Sahil. We would love to have you as part of the meetings. So what do you think about the meeting today? Do you like it?
It was very great. The first, the sir that came, it was very educational. And also I came to know a professor is also there who is doing his scholar, sir from IIT Madras. And also all the, and especially the Deepak Thompson sir, when she asked that what is your first speech experience? I like the point, like I was in the concept that he'll be using I speech at that venue, but he took he gave him a very new fresh concept to us, that he gave entirely new concept, and I like that how he changed the vision of whole topic. So I really like that, and I also like the so detailed presentation that was made by the grammarian sir, like each and every point was specified, like this was the good terminologies and that should be used, this was being done wrong, and it was so dedicatedly done. And the general evaluator sir, and he has been he's coordinating it so well, and like it was a very beautiful experience for me being here. And
I'm glad
of
that
course,
you liked it. Yeah. Very, very happy, Sahil. Even I was stunned when our table topic speaker Deepak spoke about his speech when he was born. That was something even the table topic master was astounded. Yeah, looks like even our guests are impacted, Toastmaster Deepak. So next we will hear from our other guest, guest Selvi. Would you like to say a few words about how you know the club and what you felt about today's meeting? I think you're on mute. Okay. Probably yes. It's time for the recognitions. Today we have first time role player, our table topic master, Toastmaster Monica is
Hello.
performing the role. Yes, Selvi, we can hear you now.
Yeah, ma'am. This is Selvi and I'm from Valachiri. Today I attended this club meeting. I don't know about this meeting. Today I have been watching. Further, I'm going to attend the further meeting also. Today I had a good experience about public speaking. I was very happy to attend this meeting. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Selvi. We are happy to have you. Keep joining us.
Yeah,
It's
sure,
good
ma'am.
to see you soon as a member.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Sure. Thank you.
Sure. So moving on to the recognitions, the first time role play today is our table topic master, Toastmaster Monica. She did a really great job, very well prepared. Congratulations, Toastmaster Monica. And also the educational speaker today did a great job. I'm sure each one of us would have learned more on the parliamentary procedures. And I realize a lot more things to learn and implement. Maybe XCOM will have a time reading through and trying to make the procedures, whatever you're following, better. Now it's time for the results. The best table topic speaker for today, as you all know, will be our man who gave a speech as soon as he was born, Toastmaster Deepak. Congratulations. The best tag role player is the grammarian for today, Toastmaster Bharat. Congratulations, Bharat. The best role player of today is, of course, our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Shrikant Kuttikrishnan. Congratulations, sir. Great show. Now, I think it's time to wind up and move on to the business meet. So I formally adjourn meeting number 817 to the next week. Thank you, everyone. Guests, kindly note that the upcoming business meet is only for the restricted for the members. So we will be moving on to the next segment. Thank you so much. Do we stop recording the business meet?
Yes, please.